Good morning. I'm playing more CEDH today. I'm still on Kinnan, which is a deck I've had a lot of fun with recently. And this hand passes my check for a good hand, which is a turn 1 mana accelerant that makes Kinnan the producer of a turn 2 Soul Ring. So I have a turn 3 win here. I can go Elf on 1, Kinnan on 2, and then Ancient Tomb and a Tezzeret for Basalt Monolith. I guess it's not a win. I make infinite mana. Good enough. Playing against Magda, Najeela, and Iorith. Okay, that's a word, I'm guessing. I've played against this Iorith deck a lot. Online Magic, if you're playing an MTGO, the CEDH pods are pretty much the same, like 6 to 10 guys. And I played against Haza a lot. He's a good player. I don't know what his deck does. I'm sure he's won some games I haven't seen, but I don't know what it does. Where am I in turn order? Second, perfect. And I got a crispy 7. I was thinking about the philosophy of CEDH when I was driving in today. It's very weird because you either have to win very early before anyone gets their shields up. Like right now, I don't have a Force of Will in my hand. My opponents probably don't have interaction. If you can go off on turn 1 or 2, you're probably not going to face very much incoming flak. But after that, everyone is going to try to set up their stacks pieces in whatever way they can. So you have to either be set up to go super, super fast or to really, really grind out a mid-range game. And it's sometimes hard to figure out which one of those decks you should be. And like, even more so, if your deck can do both, it's kind of hard to figure out which one of those your role is. So one of my opponents is down to 5 cards. That is bad luck. Drawing Moonsilver Key is a little weird. It gives you another way to get Basalt Monolith. Now I have a way to get a Monolith and a color producer of some sort so that I can actually win the game, not just tell everyone. Hypothetically, I could. My opponent powering out their Iorith of the Healing House. Okay, he's starting to get together his Twiddle factory. So I have the option here of, I could play my Boseiju and then have my Llanowar Elves tap for 2, and that's all well and fine, but I can just as easily play a Spellskite proactively to make sure that my Kinnan doesn't get killed by anything silly. More and more decks are going to start to have to run just like basic creature removal. Like, I mean, Lightning Bolt. I guess a lot of places run Sword to Plowshares, but it's a lot of decks get blown out by creature removal and just kind of, or get blown up by creatures and just kind of ignore them. I have a Pongify even. You know, I'm doing my part. I think I have like a Resculpt and a Pongify and a Cyclonic Rift. That's it to handle opposing creatures. But just like a Drannith Magistrate or, gosh, any number of things. Really just like, there's so many hate bears in the format that people pretend aren't going to wreck your day, but they will. So I think that Magda is a go fast deck. I think that Najeela could have things to kick me in the shin, but I don't think that they have them in their multi-5. I think the Iorith deck has a little bit, oh, come on. So is this guy destroying my Spellskite? It has to be. Or I guess it's someone else's Mana Vault. Oh, thank God for Magda. He is keeping us from falling under this Mana Vault being untapped multiple times next turn. I'm a little disappointed because I did want to know what this guy's deck does. Magda, sure. Plundering Barbarian is a dwarf? You have to be kidding me. The synergy is unreal. I didn't even realize that. I've played Magda. I didn't realize this was a dwarf. So opponent has a Lotus Veil, this is pretty good as well. Wow. Okay. Lotus Veil is crazy. If I'd kept up Boseiju here, I might be able to save the table from dying, but I didn't. Gosh, there's so much mana. Oh, I guess I could be stealing all of these. Okay, now I've realized that I can Spellskite to take his untaps away, which is way too late. Opponent just casting a Thassa's Oracle here. If he's just going for the scry, he's just scrying, I think. Is this resolving? Wow, that's bad. This is the card Thassa's Oracle apparently was going to be before they errated it last second before printing. All right, my turn. I need to draw a blue source to slam this Tezzeret. Let's see if I do. Oh, boy. Well, guys, I was thinking about the best way to get this Basalt Monolith out of my library, and I just drew it. I don't know why anyone does anything that's not just that. That's the easiest way to do it. That's what you should do if you have the option. I don't have any counterspells up. I believe someone would have counterspelled Haza at some point if they had it, but maybe my 5-card Najeela opponent has something going on. So this is a hassle to click through online, and yeah, my opponents are going to respond to these things. So I'm going to show them the Moonsilver Key and then also show them the Mirage Mirror. The Mirage Mirror click-through is purely theoretical. You cannot conceivably do it online. It requires you to copy alternatively a land and your Basalt Monolith an infinite number of times, and then untap and tap it and tap it and untap it and all that jazz for forever until one of you dies. And I mean real life dies. This game is not going to resolve itself any other way. So I want to be able to go off with enough mana left to untap my monolith in case someone has interaction. The guys I'm playing with are usually pretty cool about it. So I don't think they're going to try and make me make infinite mana. I'm just going to kind of show them the pieces and see what they want to do. If they can counter this, they can really kick me in the shin. Okay, they didn't. So let's go get a... I think it's Mirage Mirror is what I want. A lot of decks have different ways. There's like a Stonework Puma that kind of does the thing. There's a few other things you can use. Any mana filter works. Whatever you generally want to run the thing that has the least poor applications in other scenarios. Like one of them is a 2-mana 2/1 that filters mana. And that stinks. Mirage Mirror can copy your mana rocks. It can copy other things. It's quite a bit better. So it's a nice thing to run. I'm going to tell my opponents how I would do this. This is very unsatisfying to play because you don't actually get to do anything. You just have to tell your opponents they're dead and then trust they believe you. Let me see. All right, so my opponent has decided he might have some interaction here. Let's see what happens. Okay, going for a demonic consultation. I think he probably has something that beats this. This is exciting. What is he naming? So he got silence, which is actually very good here. Okay, so the game is continuing. Wow, how exciting. My opponent has 28 cards in his library. I wonder what he lost. So I can't cast another spell this turn. If I'd played appropriately, I shouldn't have played this Beseiju. I could have gotten my Treasure Vault here and then used my infinite mana to... my Treasure Vault is my land drop to produce infinite treasures and then just Kinnan the whole thing. I wouldn't have won the game still, which is important to note, but I would have had a nice time. So I have the option here of taking a Perplexing Chimera or a Tidespout Tyrant. I think I'm going to take the Chimera. So I'm going to take the Chimera because I don't think this young man can produce enough treasures to punish us. 1, 2. I mean, it would be a weird scenario, but he might be able to. But unlikely. I don't... Dusker can win the game. I don't know what he exiled. Let me look at this real quick. So Dusker has lost, or I guess then the Najeela player has lost his Thassa's Oracle, has also lost his Adnaz, and a Grim Hireling. He might not have a piece to combo off with Najeela left. So he might... just be dead. So I'm gonna let this, go. I do not want the Lotus Petal. Perplexing Chimera is a really, really fun card where you get to steal people's spells. So the dwarves should probably come in the guy with no creatures. Yep, seems like it. I've also just realized Moonsilver Key can't get Mirage Mirror because it doesn't have a mana ability. Okay, so him getting this Clock of Omens means that I think he can go infinite here. All right, I'm gonna have to trade. I don't want to trade, so he's gonna make infinite tokens. He'll tap the 2. Oh, he doesn't have a dwarf. I think I can let it go. Let me talk to my opponents. So if he plays an artifact dwarf with his 1 mana, which there are 1 mana artifact dwarves, it's some automaton. He can tap the clock and the treasure token to untap. Okay, I've also just realized that Spellskite can just steal this ability. So if he goes for it, I can just steal the untap with Spellskite, Spellskite is just a crazy card. Wow. All right. So, I mean, a lot of my opponents are getting locked out of their combos by Spellskite. Spellskite was a card I wasn't sure I was going to run in the deck, and now I think it's like one of the best ones I could be running. Perplexing Chimera is one of the hardest effects to beat. There's almost nothing that gets around it. Like if you steal a counterspell, you can redirect it. If you peer into the abyss, you can take. It's just really, really crazy. Najeela the Blade Blossom, I do not want. Because I have the combo on my turn. My opponent may have his Soul Ring. So I don't know what they could do that I wouldn't just... Like if there's a really, really good spell, I just steal it. And so I think I can just let everything go until something that really matters happens. All right, and so because I am a silly Billy and I didn't want to click through my infinite mana, I do have to pay 4 mana on my turn to untap the Basalt Monolith, which kind of stinks, but you know, it's what you get. Birds of Paradise is a huge draw, very important. All right, so let's start by untapping and see what my opponent wants to do. Making infinite mana again, and then I'm gonna show them Treasure Vault. So let's see if they have any interaction this time. Gosh. Okay, it appears I have wrapped this one up. Yay, I win. So what an opening to this video. I have a good hand. I'm a good player, good hand. So I talked through all this. So the thing I have to worry about here is opponent somehow destroying my Basalt Monolith if I play it on turn 1. Well, good news for me, I have a way to make a backup Basalt Monolith, but I guess it's going to be tapped, but I only need 3 mana. Yeah, so I'm just going to cast 2 Basalt Monoliths here. I guess I could cast a Spellskite. I kind of like that. Yeah, let's just cast a Spellskite. The last game we discovered Spellskite's the best card in anyone's deck, including mine. And I'm still right here. Still good. I cannot leave my turn. I've been trying for a while. Gosh, it's weird because Magic Online has so little data to parse. Like, I've played Call of Duty online. Magic Online has a hell of a time getting it together with this. Oh, rats, I don't have a payoff. That's the thing I always forget, is that, like, you have to do something. I have infinite colorless mana on my turn. Okay, I'll pass. Like, that's what it's going to end up at. Not that good. Surf Absolot ready for his big combo turn. There's a joke in there. If he plays like a single-sided Storm deck, you know, where he just like goes off on his own on his turns and just like does his thing, you know? Okay, Terramorphic Expanse. Our opponent is appearingly not playing an all-the-way CEDH deck, which sometimes happens in these things. He could still have Force of Will in his hand and make me feel silly for playing this Kinnan. At least he's got a very nice looking mount. That is handsome. Let me make sure Vadrik, Astral Archmage. Yep, okay, cool. So it's some kind of Storm deck. Karkashima is also the same thing, but quite good. Won the flip from a Mana Crypt. That's a good sign. Means I'm probably going to draw. Okay, so I'm going to slam my Kinnan here and then make infinite mana and then do nothing with it. But I can also, I'm not even going to make infinite mana. So let's untap my Monolith. I'm going to tell the guys I have no payoff. So I'm going to produce enough mana here to cast my Metamorph, copying the Springleaf Drum because it lets me cast Mana Drain off of the drum. But I'm also going to end with my Monolith untapped and 3 mana floating. All right, so let's copy the Springleaf Drum here, which means I now have blue, and infinite mana up. But it just means I have a counter spell if anyone tries anything crazy. It also means I get 2 Kinnan flips next turn. Is it a flip? Flip's the right word? I flip the top 5 of my library and see if I cast a spell from them. I'll have something to do. A card I'm considering for this deck is Agatha's Soul Cauldron. It's this one here. It makes it so that Kinnan can use mana of any color, so the infinite, he makes just Basalt Monolith, lets you flip your library. But I can't get it with Moonsilver Key. I don't really have a great way to I have Fabricate and it exiles cards from a graveyard, and that's kind of cool, but like there is some weird abilities you could do with that. Huh. Okay, I'm kind of coming around to it. Like, you can get a Kinnan out of a graveyard to give one of your creatures his ability to flip stuff in case he dies, but you have infinite mana, which sometimes, like, hopefully my opponent has a Pyroblast, because I don't even know. It's just one of those things, like the Pyroblast versus Red Elemental Blast debate is something that, like, really sweaty Magic players love to talk about, and it comes up once every 5 calendar years. But the question is, like, which one's better? And one of them says counter target spell if it's blue, or destroy target creature if it's blue. And so it's easier to redirect. Given my spell guide, it is actually weirdly destroy target blue permanent or destroy target permanent if it's blue. And that difference is important specifically right now. But I don't know which one's which. My opponent is going for a Vadrak here. Bergie is fine. So this Storm deck is going to do something, albeit a little slowly or more slowly than will be relevant, but like it's not nothing. So I have 3 commanders I can copy with this Phantasmal Image. I don't think any of them does anything particularly good for me. Tidespout Tyrant helps me make even infiniter mana. So like, all right. So if I go blue here and infinite mana, I can Tidespout. Then I can Phantasmal Image, bounce my Mana Crypt, copy Tidespout, and then make infinite mana while bouncing every permanent my opponent's control. I think that might be good enough. I mean, oh god, I don't want to click through it. Okay, so I'm just gonna do it. I'm stop whining. Good lord. Okay, let's untap. So I have to have 9 mana in my mana pool with this. I don't know how much my opponents are going to try and interact, so I want to make sure I have enough mana to restart the combo once I have shown them what it's going to be. Also, I'm not going to kill them. They may think that they can just beat what I've got going on. And I have 56 minutes on the clock, so here comes some clicks, big dog. Big dog being me, of course. All right, let's produce some blue manas. Let's cast that guy. So my opponents may have interaction for this. I could have played a land in order to keep mana drain up, which might have been all right. We'll see what they do. So I am going to play that land. I guess it doesn't keep mana drain up anymore, but here we go. So I have to start my monolith thing again. I want it untapped with enough mana to untap it again. So I'm going to cast Phantasmal Image. I'm going to bounce this Mana Crypt. My opponents can get me with like a couple of effects here. I'm going to have enter as a copy of this. Then we're going to cast Mana Crypt, and we're going to return that and that to my hand, sure. So this doesn't, just these 2 things don't make infinite mana. It makes a decreasing amount of mana, but I can use the Basalt Monolith to increase my colorless mana as many times as I want to. I can also, let's see what this guy has. So he's dwarfing for something. Oh, he might just be making it a treasure, so he has one because he can. So assuming my opponents don't have something, I don't know what they would have. I believe I have this wrapped up. So I'm going to enter as a copy of Springleaf Drum. I'm going to make some blue mana. So now I have mana drain up. I am slightly more insulated against their silliness. And I think that I don't have to use the Basalt Monolith too much because I can just use it for mana when I cast and meta mana every time. So that's actually kind of a relief because good God, is it tough to do this. All right, I'm going to stop talking, and when I come back, if my opponents are still playing the game, they won't have any permanents in play. Gosh, this deck seems to play online. I knew I said I wasn't going to talk, but like I got really salty that I had to click so many buttons so many times. Okay, and I'm good with that. Let my 22 floating mana dissipate. My opponent has also conceded. I don't think anyone had fun that game, so I might have to consider playing a different deck that doesn't require so much clicking and just like unfun things for other people. Well, thank you for watching. I'll continue making. I like playing CEDH, but I probably won't be playing this next time I do.